The laughter was the worst part. Not the icy water soaking her clothes. Not the humiliation of standing waist-deep in a luxury hotel pool while dozens of wealthy guests stared at her, but the sound of people laughing as though her pain were a form of entertainment. Sarah Mitchell stood shivering in the blue-lit pool at the Jefferson Estate in Beverly Hills, California, her white waitress shirt clinging to her skin and her black apron dragging through the water. Only moments before, she had been carrying a silver tray of champagne when someone shoved her from behind. The tray flew into the air, glasses shattered across the marble, and Sarah vanished beneath the surface. When she came up, she expected someone to help her. Instead, she heard laughter. Then, through the crowd, one man stopped smiling. A millionaire named Nathan Brooks stepped forward, and what he did next would leave everyone at that party speechless. Before we go on, if you believe kindness still matters, that people deserve second chances, and that someone's social standing should never dictate how they're treated, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who feels the same, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps us bring more stories like this to life. Sarah never imagined one night could reveal so much cruelty. She was 28, working 2 jobs in Los Angeles just to hold on to her small apartment and help her younger brother, Caleb, finish community college. Their mother, Rebecca, had raised them alone after their father passed away, and Sarah had learned early that dignity was something worth protecting, even when life offered very little. She worked shifts at the Jefferson Estate whenever private events came up, polishing glasses, hauling trays, smiling politely at guests who sometimes looked straight through her. She never complained. Every paycheck mattered too much. That evening was supposed to be an ordinary shift. The Jefferson Estate belonged to Nathan Brooks, a wealthy businessman Sarah had never personally met. The party was full of investors, celebrities, executives, and their families. Crystal lights hung from the trees around the pool. Soft music drifted through the warm night air, and expensive cars lined the driveway. Sarah moved quietly through the crowd, trying to anticipate what every guest might need. Then she crossed paths with Victoria Reynolds, the spoiled daughter of one of Nathan's business partners. Victoria had been drinking heavily, surrounded by friends who laughed at everything she said. Earlier that night, Sarah had accidentally bumped her chair while serving another table. She apologized at once and offered to replace the spilled drink. Victoria accepted, but her face said she hadn't let it go. Later, as Sarah carried a tray toward the pool, Victoria spotted her coming. What happened next looked like an accident to anyone who wanted to believe it was one. Victoria stepped backward into Sarah's path. One of her friends moved in closer. Sarah lost her footing. The tray tipped, and before she could catch herself, a hard shove sent her straight into the water. For a few seconds, she was completely disoriented underwater, her shoes slipping off, her apron twisting around her legs, the cold shock stealing her breath. When she finally broke the surface, laughter rippled around the pool. Phones went up. Someone muttered that the waitress had ruined the party. Victoria stood at the edge, feigning shock, while her friends fought to hold back their laughter. Sarah searched the crowd, hoping someone would offer a hand. No one did. She tried to climb out, but her soaked shoes and heavy uniform worked against her, her arms trembling as she gripped the ledge. A small cluster of guests watched with visibly uneasy faces. They clearly understood what had happened, but no one wanted to get involved. Sarah dropped her eyes, holding back tears. She had spent years guarding her dignity, and now it felt stripped away in front of a crowd of strangers. Then the music cut off. Nathan Brooks had entered the courtyard. Unlike the other guests, he wore a plain dark suit. No jewelry, nothing meant to announce his wealth. At 42, he'd built a technology company from nearly nothing, though few at the party knew how much of his fortune had come from years of sacrifice. He looked toward the pool and immediately spotted Sarah. The shattered glasses, the soaked uniform, the fear on her face, the guests laughing around her. His expression hardened. He walked straight to the pool's edge and reached out his hand. Sarah hesitated, embarrassed and afraid, but finally took it. Nathan pulled her out, shrugged off his own jacket, and draped it over her shoulders. He didn't ask if anything had been damaged. He asked if she was hurt. That simple question was enough to bring tears to her eyes. Then Nathan turned to the crowd and asked for the security footage. The laughter died instantly. Victoria's smile disappeared. She tried to claim Sarah had simply slipped, but Nathan had already seen enough. Security pulled up the footage on a nearby screen, and everyone watched the truth play out. Victoria deliberately stepping into Sarah's path, while a friend pushed her from behind. No accident at all. The courtyard fell silent. Nathan didn't shout. He didn't insult Victoria. He simply explained, calmly, that wealth might open doors, but it never gave anyone the right to humiliate a person who worked for a living. He had the staff see to Sarah's care and told his manager that the guests responsible would never set foot on his property again. But he wasn't finished. He noticed Sarah still staring at the broken tray, apologizing over and over for something that was never her fault. He told her she had nothing to apologize for, then asked about her life. Reluctantly, she told him about her 2 jobs and her brother's schooling. Nathan listened closely. A week later, an unexpected letter arrived. Nathan had created a paid hospitality management position at one of his companies and offered it to her, along with training and a scholarship fund for Caleb. He hadn't done it out of pity, he explained. He'd done it because he'd watched her that night and recognized something rare: responsibility, patience, and dignity under pressure. Months passed, and Sarah's life slowly transformed. She left her second job, helped her brother continue his studies, and eventually became a respected event coordinator. She never forgot the night she fell into that pool, and she never forgot the man who reached out his hand when no one else would. A year later, Sarah returned to the Jefferson estate for another major event. She stood beside the same pool where she had once wept in humiliation. Only now she wore a sharp professional suit and carried a folder with plans for a charity fundraiser. Nathan stood nearby, smiling with quiet pride. Sarah looked out over the water and understood something powerful. That night hadn't destroyed her. It had revealed who people truly were, and shown her that a single act of kindness can redirect an entire life. If this story moved you, like the video, share it with someone who needs the reminder that kindness matters, and subscribe for more stories about courage, dignity, and second chances. And before we close, comment, "Kindness always wins." If you believe that no matter how hard life gets, we should never stop treating others with compassion. Because Sarah learned something that night money could never buy. Humiliation may last only a moment, but kindness can stay with someone for a lifetime. Sometimes the person standing alone in the crowd doesn't need your judgment, just someone brave enough to reach out a hand.